where we would like to be. I did see on our weather forecast it's supposed to rain a little bit tonight, so every time it rains it kind of puts a little great stuff on the fields but not so great stuff on the construction. And I'll just start here with James Parker, and he's from Tri-Arc, and he can tell you who he is.
Yep, I'm James Parker. I'm with Tri-Arc Architects, and I've got a little bit of design here to show the board for the new concessions and restrooms buildings. But before we do that, I'll let these guys introduce themselves, and then also if you guys want to go through the construction schedule at that time, and then we can do this one afterwards. It's up to you guys. So
I'll introduce myself real quick because these guys are going to do that. I'm Randy Nance. I'm our division manager for Crossland in Oklahoma City, and Zach and Mark are actually handling the project, but I'm here to help with any questions that may come up. So let those guys introduce themselves.
Mark Henry, superintendent out here. Most of you guys have seen me around.
I'm Zach Hudson, project manager. So, and we can get into schedule. We've kind of broken up in this one here on the left, kind of broken up in the phases of the project and how we're approaching it. As everybody's probably most interested in, phase one is the football field. When we started this up, the goal was to get it up and running as quickly as possible, and we're trying to do that. I know there's an October 21st football game that we've been asked to have it ready for. Right now, with some of our material deliveries, we don't want to jump up and say we can make that date right now and not being able to do it. So we promised Donna over the next 3 weeks, as we get firm dates and deliveries, get some activities started up, we're going to be able to tell her when we're going to be able to turn it over. And
on that note, I do want you to know that Mr. Weavy and Bryce and I went to Northwestern on Friday, and we will be playing our first two games at Northwestern. The first one will be a Friday night, and the second one will be a Thursday night. And they have offered for additional games if needed. So we do have a plan in motion for that. Mr. Weavy has done a great job of rescheduling our junior high football games with the other school going to their place as opposed to coming to our place. So we feel like at this point we've got it covered until about the 1st of October. Then we'll go from there.
Our primary activities in phase one right now is the curb around the track. We have actually completed the inner curb, and the reason that's the goal is we've got to get asphalt down to start curing before it can receive the track surface. As soon as those curbs are done, we're going to get the gravel and the asphalt scheduled. We've got a tentative date later this month when we can have him out there to start that asphalt. As soon as that's complete, we're going to start importing the rock that goes beneath the AstroTurf. Brought a layout for you guys today. This project is very nice where the money's been spent, and that AstroTurf field right there is as good as OSU's practice facility. And so we'll get into that as soon as the asphalt's down, and we have already moved our earthwork into phase two, which is over by the elementary school, and we're doing some clarifications with the civil engineer right now in phase two. I've got some questions on the subgrade there. They're going to give us some answers. And we've also moved our earthwork into phases 4 and 5, or phases 3, 4, and 5, and then there's the possibility of an entrance road on the east side to allow people exiting the elementary school to go out that way as well. This is kind of pending the availability of funds at the end of the project. So it's something schools express they really want to have in the project, so we're kind of helping save a little money here and there and pick what's put in the project at this point so we can have that hopefully be in the project.
yeah, and I'll just jump in there and say, in the early planning meetings, when we determined to put that road there, I just heard from a lot of people how much of a backup point that is right now. There's a huge amount of congestion by the elementary when parents are dropping off and picking up. So even if you guys just put down, not the full asphalt, but if you put down an ag base or something like that, to have some way to get out, that would greatly improve your traffic situation over there.
Increase safety concerns.
Yeah. And we've had a really good working relationship with the county. David has done a really good job of working with them, and they've committed to helping us get that tree line down, putting it someplace where we can burn it eventually, and then helping us with some of that work. So I can't say enough about how grateful I am that David has worked with the county so closely.
And most of our underground has been put in for the football field. Earthwork and underground piping is not the flashiest stuff to watch if you're driving by, but that's a big part of the project that's been completed. Saturday morning we got started with the foundations for the bleachers, and we did receive the goalpost last week. All the sports and track equipment has been received. It's in storage. As we're complete the track curb, we're going to start putting those in as well. We've been able to increase, shorten the overall duration of the project since it was in the beginning, but it's still, if our completion date's December, that doesn't really help in October football games. So our focus is the football games on this project, and we've been working with the coaches and everybody to try to understand where the important things are in that, so we can hopefully meet them.
And one of the people I also need to recognize is Chad. He has done so much legwork on, the small, minute details that are going to keep our pads from blowing into the, Enid or wherever. So we really appreciate all the work that he's done for all of the track system and just the really minute details that make a lot of difference in this. Things like drainage and bringing things to our attention that really needed to be addressed. So these guys get on it, and then James hears about it, and the engineer gets back on it. So we make sure that we're doing everything correctly the first time and don't have issues.
Any questions?
You guys have questions?
You want to tell them a little bit about your plan for access certain parts of the project through the construction and how that's going to work, because you're not going to be totally done.
Coach Schoenbacher had a quick question.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Said
Yep.
October 21st, hoping October 2nd.
No, that was the October 2nd was the junior varsity ones, correct?
No, that's the
Yeah, I think that is something that we'll talk about.
Okay.
One of our concerns there is the fire marshal letting us operate the facility, and once that asphalt goes down, it does have a 20-day cure time on it, and we can't contaminate it. We're trying to find out how much we can contaminate it, because if it was just an asphalt track around a beautiful green football field, it would be very tempting to use it. But we're working with that track surfacing company to find out exactly when we can use it.
Yeah, and I was just planning to not be on it for 20-something days. None of us, and that was something that we talked about too, was not having any kind of, because the field will be there, and it'll look like it's great. It's time to get on that field, but it's actually not, because that track is settling.
And yeah, we are, what James was mentioning, the existing locker room and weight facility, we're going to move our fences so access can be made into those areas. Athletes need to be working out. It's time to be ready for football season.
Do you do those peripheral runways too, whenever you do the track?
Yes. That's a really good question, because as our concrete guys are coming around that outer curb, which will start tomorrow, they're going to start hitting some of those outlying things. So we're not leaving those to the end. We want them to hit everything they can. If we're still getting our civil clarification on Area 2. If they don't jump over there, they're going to jump to Area 3 and start putting curb and gutter down. And because we really want Area 2, because that does affect the elementary school as well. But we'll probably have that response back from civil engineer this week.
Can you give them a quick update on the elementary, just so everybody kind of knows?
The elementary, we did our punch walk just right before this meeting. What that is we walked through it with the architect and the owner representative. Take pieces of blue tape and mark where the walls are scratched and any corrections that are wanted to be done before we turn it over. Stopped by the fire marshal's office on my way up here, and he wanted a clarification on some work that had been done before we got up here in between the school and the gymnasium. James got him that clarification. He's approved it. So Mark's going to be scheduling a fire marshal, hopefully by the end of the week, and walk through there and get you guys. It's turned out beautiful. The color scheme is
Absolutely gorgeous.
awesome.
Beautiful.
So what kind of time frame are we looking at for the parking on Project 2, on Phase 2 for the school?
We, there's probably one or two answers that come back from the civil engineer over there. We got into it and it's pretty much, black gumbo. It's, it's not really suitable for constructing on. So we're probably gonna hear something back that a stabilized, we can use a CKD or lime stabilization on it. So it's strong for a parking lot, or worst case scenario, I'm thinking probably a 3-foot cut and fill. Just take the material out and bring in some sled fill for it. We would like to see CKD or lime stabilization just because we're ready. We got it cut to grade and we're ready to go right there. So it would, if we weren't working through this to make sure we're building a suitable grade, we would have gravel trucks rolling right now and scheduling curb and gutter.
So we're looking at into school already though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're probably gonna have to do some coordination with the school and where our fences are. We were over there
Yeah.
making sure we have means of egress out of the elementary school and access. Because
Yeah.
Now, that'll just affect the flow. That's not going to affect.
And we met as an administrative team today. We met about that. Was one of our things on our agenda. And then we're going to actually try to do some type of a run through Monday, and things like we talked about where the teacher's going to park. Are we all going to park centrally located here and then figure out how to get teachers back and forth to elementary? Or Chad had a great idea about parking parallel along one place, and so we're going to go over there Monday and we're going to look at it and try to drive a few cars through and get a good idea. We also are going to ask our local police officers to be here to help us with traffic control the first couple of days, and we've talked about a little bit about some staggering, letting some walkers go a little earlier, try to get them out of the way, or keep them a little later to try to make sure that they're a little safer. So we are talking about the issues that we're going to have a week from Thursday.
Anybody else got any questions concerning sports complex?
It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be one of the nicest facilities in Oklahoma.
and the
You want to
bleachers.
talk about the new concessions and restrooms?
Yeah. You guys got anything else on the sports
No,
complex?
One thing to mention, just the bleachers themselves, school colors with the press box, and I think there's been some signage that's going to be mounted on that. We're going to help coordinate getting that signage installed, so it's going to look very, very nice. So the money's been put into place. It's kind of goal. James and I talked about, the whole time, put in the money where the school wanted it and the town wanted it. So it's in the field, it's in the press box, and it's in the lighting system.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Number 3, discussion and vote on the new concession and utility building plans for the multi-facility complex.
You're up.
Okay. So in the overall master plan for this deal, what we were going to do is take that existing field house out there.
Yeah, if there's anybody who doesn't know, we're going to talk about this area right here and this area right here. There'll be 2 buildings that come in right here. And that's what we're going to be looking at right now.
I'll just fold that there. So the original idea was to take the existing restrooms that are no longer being used off of that field house and demolish them. And the field house right now with the new plans, it's setting right in the middle of this parking lot. And we elected to keep it here and just design around it with the new parking. But one idea was to, instead of demolishing that and adding the restrooms on there, we decided in a previous board meeting that we would go ahead and design 2 new buildings here to take up the function of the concessions, the public restrooms, and 2 new locker room facilities. So the weight room facility and everything will still be housed in this building here, but the lockers are going to be moved to a new building. So you can get a new locker facility there. So what I brought with me here is a preliminary plan for that. And then based on feedback today, I'll go ahead and revise this, and then we'll finalize it. And once we get 100% construction documents, we'll get it to Crossland, and they can put it out to bid. And they'll be, as they're finishing up some of the site work here, they'll start construction on these two pieces there. So what we've got here is, when you come into the main approach for the main gate, we've got two buildings, and on one side you're going to have your concessions, storage areas, and things like that, and then you're going to have the public restrooms. The public restrooms are a lot more than what we had there existing.
There's two under there.
Yeah, there's two.
Let me see that second.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's put it up there, so
Where's the main gate going to be?
Might be kind of hard
right
to
as
see.
you're,
In between those two buildings.
Between those two
So,
buildings?
yeah, so if you look on this plan, you've got two little buildings here on this little diagonal piece, and this is your main ingress for the whole sports facility. So if you're coming to see a track or a football game, you come in here and either go to the visitor side or the home side. Or if you're going to see a ball game, then you go here for the baseball and here for the softball. So the original plan, we had baseball and softball way over here. And when we met with the board and everything, we decided to get it all centralized. So now we've got one central ingress, and there's a fence around this entire facility. And there's one place for ticketing and to control access into all the sports complex. So, and that's right here, and that's between these two buildings shown here. And then up here, it's kind of going to be hard for some of you that there in the back to see, but this is blown up, and we've got the concessions building here with some field storage, and we've got some outdoor covered areas right in front of the concession. So if it's raining or something like that, you can kind of hang out under the concessions area while you're waiting for nachos or whatever you're getting. Then we've got the new restroom facilities. This is up to the current code to meet the minimum plumbing facilities for 861 people, which is what the stadium was originally planned for. Now I believe it's down to 816, but I went ahead and kept this. It's the same number of fixtures anyway. There are going to be 11 new water closets for women and 6 for men, and then there's going to be 4 new lavatories and 3 for men. And the difference there is because, modern code recognizes the fact that women need more facilities than men, because in general it's going to take a little bit longer. So when you're coming here, you're coming out of the parking lot, here's that diagonal piece. You walk up here, there's a gate connecting the two buildings. It'll swing open. You can have your ticket takers there. We've got a ticketing area right here where you can, you've got a little ticket window that you can sell tickets out of. Then the rest of it's just concessions. The concession will have 2 windows here, so you can have 2 lines forming and take care of your concessions that way. Then inside there you've got your standard stuff, refrigerator, freezer, ice machine, then just countertops. So you can kind of prepare whatever concessions you need to prepare. It'll have a storage area and a janitor's closet. I've got 2 janitor's closets, one for the restroom facilities and one for the concessions to keep those things separate. So now over here on the, I guess kind of the northwest side, I've got 2 locker room facilities. And what I did was this is my first design attempt at this, kind of based off a use of 50 lockers. Now we may want to adjust this in talking with the coaches more or less and see exactly what they need there, but this just gives a basis of discussion here. So this might go through a couple of design iterations to fine tune these points, but in general the program is new restrooms that will handle the peak demand for all the public during any event, concessions and storage area with ticketing, gate to control the access and to be able to take those tickets, and new locker facilities. That's 2 separate facilities that'll handle your home and away side, and then during normal practices and stuff, you can have a varsity and a junior varsity side. So, Any questions about the design of this facility? Oh, and just so everybody knows, kind of the history behind the way all this was funded. So the bond called for, there was a certain amount of money available in the bond, and when all these projects were bid out, we had some alternates. One of them was the road that we talked about earlier, going on this side. And after we decided, okay, everything's bid out, and we figured out what could be paid for and what couldn't be paid for, one of the things that was left over was this building that couldn't be paid for. And this was beyond the original scope. And so the board elected to go and borrow a little bit of additional money because you guys have enough general funds coming in to be able to pay that back. To go ahead and build this facility. And what this did is replaced having to go in and tear off part of that building and just append it to that building. And I think that the new master plan that we came up with requires something new be built right here. And it works out a lot better in the end, I think. It's very nice. So one other thing is you're going to have this existing field house at the end, and we're going to get a price to go ahead and clad that with new metal panel, just clean it up and make it look really nice there in the middle of the parking lot. So you'll still be using that for storage and for the weight room, but we'll clean it up and make it look nice to match the rest of the facility, because you're going to have new fences, new facilities all around there. So we'll get pricing for that whenever we price these buildings. We'll bid them together, and then the board can elect to either go forward with that or not. So, any questions about the new buildings?
Your locker room building, is it allocated for both girls and boys, since we do have girls softball? And I mean, how's it get them?
Yeah, I was just, the previous superintendent, Corey Ellis, just conveyed to me that there would be two sides. He said varsity and junior varsity, so I don't know if you want to just make it girls and boys instead, but if we need to change that, I mean, now would be the time to talk about what you want there. But right now I have two separate facilities. And that could be
two separate rooms is what you
Yeah, and you could keep
You can
it.
make it what you would like.
Yeah, you can make it what you'd like, or I mean, you could have. I don't know what best fits your use. I mean, it could be girls varsity and then girls junior varsity, and then half the year, and when you have softball, it's softball, and then when you have baseball, it's baseball. So if you got different sports at different seasons, maybe the same locker rooms are used for those. So what I've been told is that we need two separated facilities, and how you guys use those, I'm not sure what's best, and that's part of the detail that we may need to sit down and get into, because I haven't met with any of the coaches on exactly what's needed there. So we still may need to adjust that little building there to fit your needs.
And really what we're doing is, once we, okay this, just opening it up for bids, and then we'll see what things will cost, and then we can make amendments to the facility.
And then your visiting team could still dress up. Yeah.
So I'm going to leave one copy of that here, and I'd like your coaches to kind of look at that and see if that'll meet the need or how I need to adjust it. And I'll redesign that. I'll keep working with you guys until we get what's wanted there before we put it out to bid.
Okay.
So,
Thanks, James. Anybody have any other questions?
How many ticket lines in there would be?
well, we've got, currently we just have one double gate that would open and give you a 10-foot wide opening, and then you could have ticket takers on either side of that. So you could easily have two ticket lines. You could put a third person right in the middle, so you could have.
I think he's talking about the actual
To buy
building,
tickets.
the buy ticket window. The window. How many windows?
Yeah, I've got one window right now that's it's about 6 feet wide. So
you could do 2 lines.
You could do 2 lines off of that. I have space to add another window around the corner if you think you need more. How many ticket lines do we think are needed? I mean, I'm not sure what your demand is like whenever you have peak demand and people showing up trying to buy tickets.
I think if you don't put enough ticket windows there, that room ends up being some type of storage, because you can't use it, you can't utilize it, and so I think that it's definitely going to. I think definitely going to need more than one window there, but
Well, if that's enclosed with an overhang.
On the other side,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know that you honestly even need a ticket booth or window itself. What we
Yeah.
need are stations where you can have
People
multiple
standing.
teachers
Yeah.
and multiple lines.
Now, if you're just gonna have people standing here taking money and you're not gonna do ticketing, then you could have 3 different lines of people just standing there at the gate.
If it's a
And I can
covered
even
area,
make the
right?
gate bigger
It
and
will have
swing the
a
gate
strip,
in.
a really
So if it's a
nice.
covered area,
It's a
that
covered area.
space could probably be utilized for numerous other things. The ticket window, I don't know
Yeah.
that you even really.
Yeah.
Okay, and what we'll do is we'll get this design, and I'll give it to you guys tomorrow, and you can start using your red pen.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a gap between the 2 buildings right now, and what we're gonna do is just have a big canopy roof coming up over the 2 buildings, connected, sort of going above them, but it's gonna create sheltered space right here. So whoever's taking tickets and people standing in line trying to get into the game will have some kind of shelter there to do that. And also, that peaked roof there will serve as a beacon, so when you're driving up to the facility, you know right where to go, where the entry point is. So this will be your main front entrance. We'll have some signage out here, and here in the next by the end of the week, I'm going to submit to Donna the what it's going to look like from the outside, some 3D perspective shots of it, just to give you guys a better visualization of how that's going to happen right there. So, and for approval.
Any other questions? Well, what I need is a motion to approve the plans on the concession and utility building plans with pending amendments.
Motion.
Second. Amber's made the motion, TJ second.
Littlefield?
Yes.
Allison?
Yes.
Heller?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Okay, great. Well, gentlemen, if you would like to stay around for the consent agenda and have all the excitement of that, you're more than welcome. We sure appreciate you coming. I want everyone to know, you know, coming into this project at the point that I did, these gentlemen have been fantastic to work with and been so good to, you know, kind of walk me through things, and I sure appreciate all of your help. You've just been wonderful to work with.
Very welcome.
Wonderful.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for hearing us.
They're fine where they're at unless you need to take them with you. We'll grab them. Yeah, that'd be good.
And I'll just leave these copies here, and Donna will be our point of communication between the design. But what I'll ask her to do is, whenever I get everything, I'll ask her to have the coaches look at this and
Yeah.
give feedback.
Yeah.
And then this week I'll be
Perfect.
working on the 3-dimensional, what's it going to look like from the outside, from the top, around the back, and all that. And I'll submit those to Donna, and she can bring them back to you guys. And then, if needed, I'll come back up and go through another desigin meeting if
Yeah.
we have to for this one.
Perfect.
So,
Perfect.
thank you, everyone.
Thank
you,
you.
guys. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's going to be absolutely amazing. I mean, that pitched roof, you know, all that. I'm like them. I don't know if you need the ticket window. I think it might be more of a hindrance than.
No, the parking lot.
Yeah, we don't sell that many
has,
tickets. I
two
mean,
ways
Yeah,
in and out.
and it the flow. I think
Yeah.
it'll
Right.
cram up the flow.
That way we.
because we're used to 2 giant entrances with people in cars, and that's how it's
Yeah.
always
One
been.
of the
And
ways
everybody's
we
in
could
there, they're
go
in there.
through the parking area by the high school. And the other ways would come.
Grandpa,
down by the-
really?
Would you teach that?
I got no control over it. Thanks a lot. All right, number 4, consent agenda. All the items which concern items are routine nature, normally approved by one vote unless the board members decide to have a separate vote on or any of all these items.
And I did want to make a note here that one of the reasons you're seeing this way instead of all of that individually is that This is gonna save us from an individual motion and vote on every single item. So once we get a report from all these people, one time you can vote and you can approve or not
Sweet.
approve. Or you can pull one out if you're concerned about it, and you can say, we would like to pull B out and vote on it
Totally.
separately. So this just kind of streamlines what we were doing and gives us the ability to not have the minutes clerk having to put
Yeah.
so much in the minutes.
Okay, number A, minutes, the July 6, 2015 regular school board meeting, July 9th, July 10th, special school board meeting, and July 22nd, 2015 special school board meeting.
Did anyone have any questions on any of the minutes that were presented?
Got those in the mail. Thank you very much.
Got your packet?
B, activity fund report for June 2015 and July 2015.
Okay, we are up with activity fund report. She is on her way. She's collecting her belongings. I do want to publicly say how much I appreciate Judy. She went to Oklahoma City this last week and picked up books and saved us $1,500 in shipping fees, so it was wonderful.
Sweet.
Okay, there's 2 activity fund reports in there. One I wrote at the top is June 30th. That's the final closeout for 14-15 school year. And then the other one is your July report.
One of the things that I'm going to be asking on the activity funds is that I've always had a superintendent's account so that I could, if I wanted to purchase something for all the teachers or I wanted to do something, and so probably by the next meeting I'll be asking you to approve the development of a superintendent's account. And then there's some monies that have kind of just floated a little bit, and we're going to close those accounts out, kind of streamline the accounts that we have, and that money I'm sure are going to be, I'm just going to take one for the team and I'm going to put it in my account.
Very nice. Thanks, Lisa.
Alicia, you're honest.
And we'll make sure that you know which accounts that would be, because it's what I want. I'm not going to steal from anybody. If I did, it'd have to be Ag, because she's rich.
If you want to look on glance down the check registers and see if you have any questions. I can answer the questions on the July one. And I can find an answer on the June one. There is my check register with the June one.
June.
I guess there's
Or
not a
July.
check register with the June
July.
one.
Or
With the June.
June, yeah.
Just the outstanding check.
Yes.
Guess I should look a little closer. But I can go find that report and print it for you if you would like to look at it.
Is that the end of, that will be the end of last year for us?
Yes. And the year's closed out.
Good deal.
On activity?
Right.
Yeah.
Or we're still working
On
on?
the
Yeah.
other.
Yes.
Question.
Okay.
Is it because of adjustments that we see like a ton of receipts and normally you don't see that?
This is gonna be a year to date, since there's that much instead of a month to date.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Big
It's like,
numbers.
oh, no, we do
Numbers.
not get that kind of money.
That is a lot of money in there.
Busy June, busy June.
Do you have anything else to add?
No, not unless you guys have any questions.
Anybody else got any questions on the activity fund?
No.
Okay, moving on. C, treasurer's fund report. Update on where we stand today.
Yeah, that's you're up, Samantha.
Sorry.
It's all right. Probably should have talked louder, sorry.
Okay, as you guys know, I haven't had a chance to put anything in for July at all. But we're working with Buddy, and he's working with the State Department, and I guess he's supposed to be here maybe next week.
Yep.
Help us figure everything out so we can get it all closed out.
And he's also going to help us with getting us connected with somebody who is very good with ADPC, which is our accounting system, and help. And I will probably sit in on some of that training just because I've never used this system. I use the math system. So it'll be good for me to hear what they have to say too. And so Amanda's going to do some training with them. I had to say this, but at one point we thought the training was going to be on the 6th of August.
Not gonna happen.
That's what we thought you'd say. So we were real quiet about it, and I said, let's just don't tell her. That's why we sent those packets home in the mail. But no, that was vetoed because we knew that Ruth would not appreciate that.
Right, okay.
And we will try to get that closed out, this last year closed out as quickly as we can.
Will we have to have a special meeting for any of that? I mean, 2 weeks probably.
We'll probably have
We'll
one
have
in a
to have
couple
one
of
for
weeks
this anyway.
for that, and when
Okay.
they get me all the stuff, and then also, just some cleanup with 14, 15, and
Right.
be able to just kind of
Get it all in
get it all
books.
taken care of. You bet.
All right.
Okay, any more questions?
No. Thanks, Samantha.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Encumbrances?
Amanda.
Encumbrances?
Encumbrances for the general fund and any change order or warrant.
Okay, you wanna look at that one?
Mhm.
The first sheet is the final expenditures from the 14-15 year. And then I can generate my reports for the State Department, close it out. It's been kind of confusing because I'm working in 2 years. But those are the final ones. And then, let's see. A big one you'll notice on the 15 and 16 year on the second page is to Apple. And we purchased 30 iPads and a cart to hold them in cases. And that's what those are.
And I talked to Mr. Leslie, and he said that
What number was that?
they had
67.
planned to do 60 more, one for the middle school, one for the high school, but that Mr. Ellis decided that he would let me sign that purchase order. So that's in the works. I'm just going to wait on that for just a little bit.
All right.
Out of the bond fund is a $377,000 check, and that's our first bond payment.
Okay.
And one of the things I didn't realize, and you guys probably did just because you were the ones that you were here, is that this is a little different bond. It's kind of a tiered bond, and it's sold every year as opposed to selling it one time. Then the whole amount goes into your account, and then you pay your bills. And I think that was something that we just weren't aware of.
Yeah,
And so
that's what's jammed up the closing of the treasury system from our last fiscal year, is how I was just paying the bills out of the bond fund instead of sending it to bank first. And I send them a payment requisition with the paperwork, and then they pay the contractors like Crossland and Triarch. And so then I requisitioned the money back that I'd spent because I thought we were supposed to keep it here since we weren't supposed to spend it.
And that's what's holding up our closeout.
That's what's holding it because
Okay.
really, there's just a lot of.
Next week?
I mean, do we have to resell the bonds, or they just?
Okay.
I mean,
Every year.
They do.
And so, bond rates have really been good over the
Wow.
last probably 6 years. So, I hope it continues to stay that way because it was very inexpensive to borrow money.
Okay.
So we just do E and F? G. Which ones did we just do?
We did just D. Now we do
D, okay. Encumbrances on building fund
None.
and child nutrition.
One for $100.
And a construction bond for $377,250. Any other questions on consent agenda?
So we motion to
I think we
approve.
need to separate and say we table C because
C.
until we have the treasurer's report available.
Okay.
And then I think we can do the rest of it as a
Waiting on a motion?
motion to accept A, B, D, E, F, and G.
Okay. Amber's made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
TJ second. Judy?
Bill?
Yes.
Allison?
Yes.
Heller?
Yes.
Willhite?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 5, proposed executive session pursuant to 25 OS 307B1 to discuss.
Do you need a motion to table number?
You don't make a motion to
Yeah,
table.
you don't have to.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're right. Executive session pursuant to 25 OS 307B1 to discuss the possible employment of Esther Alvarez, contract term 3 years, extra duty contracts for the 15-16 school year.
I
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to convene into executive session.
TJ's made the motion.
Second.
Amber second. Judy?
Littlefield?
Yes.
Allison?
Yes.
Heller?
Yes.
Willhite?
Yes.
Time?
7:50.
I've got something both nights. We're moving in this weekend.